Okay, welcome everybody. This is What's Up for You, and it's March 8th, 22. All right, so yeah, lots of energy today. So let's just take a few deep breaths into our heart space as we're starting here. And again, breathing in everything that you need, everything that you require from 360 degrees around you. And as you exhale out of that heart space, exhaling out what no longer serves you. There we go. Yeah, and really breathe it in deep into the body, deep into the cells. There's so much trying to shift and change and move in these moments that we really want to breathe that capacity right into the cells and flush those cells out 360 degrees as we exhale. Okay, the other thing that's really noticeable, there's a bit of a stillness today too. I don't know if that's a pause or if what that exactly is, but there's kind of like underneath this energy, there is a really lovely still place. So, wonderful that is being accessed, and wonderful that you are bringing that, to this conversation. So we'll kind of use that still place as a platform to have whatever discussions we're going to be having today. So, all right. Sharon, what have you got for me?
All right. First question is, are our young children meant to be involved in First Nations reconciliation work that are part of the past mistakes made by past generations?
Well, if all children, no, not necessarily. Some children, absolutely. It's what I'm hearing here is that each individual, each whether child, adult, has a direction and you might say not necessarily a purpose per se, but has a direction, has a flow in regards to their life experience. And so some very much are connected in that way. Others, it's not as important for them to be part of that. So yeah, that's more individualized. I don't think we can make a blanket statement that are all our children, meant to be involved in that way. It's, yeah, unless I misunderstood the question, I think it's a little bit more individualized than that. It's the best way I can say it. Yeah.
All right. So this question is from a person who's been following you for a long time. She was in the old practitioner process, and she's been supporting lots of families, and she's realizing that her own abilities are multidimensional, but she's wondering how she can support herself to integrate her energy and her integration, and also help her child.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's so interesting, isn't it? It's like, being the nurturers or the helpers, supporters that we typically are, a lot of times that energy goes out to everybody else before it ever hits our home fronts. And I think that it's a really good point to make, that all these things that we learn and are in the ways in which we're supportive of others, it absolutely has to come back to us. It absolutely has to be used for our own benefit as well. And so what I would say is, I know in my own experience, with the kids and them kind of never letting me facilitate anything that I haven't gotten to myself, or haven't been able to embody myself, I'd really consider some of the things that you say to the people that you support, and really turn that back in, um, not on yourself, not as a beating yourself up by any stretch, but turn that awareness that you have for others back, back to those parts of yourself that need that. So if somebody else was standing in front of you with some of the same challenges that you're facing, both for yourself, and or for your own children, you know exactly what you would tell somebody else. So tell those aspects of yourself the same things and follow it. You give really good advice. We just want to hear it for ourselves and take it for ourselves. Yeah, I think that this is one of the things that I've been learning lately is I absolutely cannot give anything that I don't have to give. I can't extend myself any further than what I have to give, which means a whole lot of self-love, a whole lot of self-nurturing. And when I miss the mark just a little bit, Sharon keeps me in check. And she goes, "Are you sure you want to do that?" So, there's, having those people in your life too that will kind of, yeah, kind of course correct you in those moments where it's much easier to extend your energy out than to give that energy to those different aspects of yourself that really require it. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. But you actually give amazing advice to people. You really do. And so it's just a matter of hearing it for yourself and understanding that certain aspects of you already figured that out enough to give it to somebody else. But some aspects of you are still in need of some encouragement and some support and, love, appreciation. So yeah, offer that to you.
All right, this question is how best to work with deep generational patterns of body shame as we come more into embodiment?
Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see. Well, again, let's start right here, right now. So we know that most patterns that don't serve us are not our patterns actually to begin with. They don't serve us because they're not ours. So a lot of the patterns that we hold are our lineage patterns. It's just something that we absorbed or that we were imprinted with. So number one, let's cut ourselves a little bit of slack that it was not ours to begin with. And then again, it kind of goes back to this last question. If somebody else was standing in front of you with body issues, with body shame, what would you say to them? How would you support them? How would you nurture them? And what's interesting here too is it's almost like whatever the body shaming pattern was that went down through the generations, somebody has to stop the shame. Somebody in that lineage, it sounds like it's you, is required or is desiring to stop that lineage, not wanting to pass it on any further. And so what counterbalances shame? Love, compassion, understanding. It's really, in some ways it's that simple. It's the shame comes up and the whole body goes into some kind of reaction because shame is there. Shame is readily available. It's a pattern, a well-worn groove, let's say. And every single time that you catch that pattern, that you notice it, and that you offer back something else other than what would be the typical, you dismantle that pattern. It really is that simple. Every time you course correct it, you're dismantling that pattern. And with actually with not that much time, you'll notice that that pattern just does not come up the way it's come up before. It might come up again strongly if you're in proximity to the people that imprinted that pattern in the first place, your family or whomever that was. But when you're on your own and you're out in your own life, you're going to notice that every single time you course correct that shame, whether you fully believe it or not, you are dismantling a piece of that. One thing I will say is, and I'm noticing this across the board with the energy that we're in right now, it really doesn't serve us to try to figure out why it's there, or who brought it about, or where did it start, or any of that. And I would be the first to say that in the past that might have been helpful, but right now things are moving so quickly that let's catch it, let's turn it on a dime, let's literally meet that shame and address it from a different perspective. And when we do, it has a tendency to not be able to be as sticky, not be able to hold on quite as tightly. So, yeah. Thank you. Hope that's helpful.
All right, this question is from a mom whose son used to love bath time. And now he cries when they go to put him in the bath. And they've changed everything. They've cleared the energy. It's the same. They haven't moved house or anything. They're just wondering, since a lot of kids have this, what would you suggest?
Hold on a second. It's just like, do you ever put a cat in the bathtub? And you kind of see where everything goes out. That's a little bit about what I'm watching right now. So give me just a second. There's a little bit of stress and anxiety around not so much the water, not so much the bath itself, but what's leaving in the bath. So let's see, let's assume here in this case that there's a little bit of an automatic cleansing going on. It's like you stand in the shower sometimes, of course, the physical body, or you get in the bath, the physical body gets clean, but also this one's energetically sensitive enough that there are other things being cleaned out too, right? So sometimes they say, when you're standing in the shower, just allow all that energy that no longer serves to just go right down the drain. Well, that seems like in the bath, that's kind of happening automatically for him. And so let's say as you put him down in the bath, he's watching, and it is happening more automatically. It's like not that anybody suggested this to him or it just started happening, that there's like this discharge of energy that's going into the tub, that's going into the bath. And that makes him nervous, makes him uncomfortable, so I would just have a conversation with him. I would literally just say to him, that bath can take everything away. That bath can take away, anything any dirt that's on the body, but it can also take away all the stuff that's floating in the water per se. It can take away, excuse me, can take away whatever is flushing out. It's really interesting because he's just going through like a little bit of a automatic cleanse is the best way I can say it. I think this probably came upon him pretty quickly, like all of a sudden it just shifted, like, oh, okay, now I don't like this anymore. it doesn't really seem to have anything to do with anything else other than something that he's aware of that's coming from him out into the water. And he doesn't want to stand in that. He doesn't want to sit in it. He doesn't want to be in it. So, yeah, so I would suggest I would just tell him that. Tell him that, like, as if you were seeing it yourself, because then he's like, oh, there's nothing wrong, right? There's nothing, it's okay. It's supposed to do that. It's like, but because it just started doing that automatically, he doesn't know that that's what happens dimensionally, when we're looking through those eyes, that's just what naturally happens for him. So I would speak to him about that, so that he feels a little bit more comfortable. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Hold on. The other thing he's saying, and he was telling me to tell a story from before, when my kids were little, but it's not quite the same thing. But all kids can go through that phase for whatever reason. My kids went through it because their dad at some point showed them Jaws, and then they would never get in the tub again, right? So so anyway, but one of the things that he's saying that might be helpful too is just put a couple drops of food coloring in the water, just so the water is a color instead of clear. Because when it's clear, he sees everything that's in that space. Put a little bit of blue, put a little bit of, whatever. And it just, it for whatever reason, the color neutralizes what he's seeing in the tub, is what I'll say. So.
All right. This question, how would you suggest I drop the extra weight I've put on?
Yeah. Do you want to? Do you really want it to go? Or is it kind of a bit of a comfort? I mean, I hear that you don't, the perception is that you don't like it, as far as the physical manifestation of it, but are you comfortable in it? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so if that's the case, then again, do we have to force ourselves to drop things that we're not quite ready to drop yet? Or that, there's a bit of we're all needing a bit of a buffer zone right now. I mean, regardless of whether we're out in the world and hearing whatever's going on out there, or whether we stay more, isolated or internal, and are just feeling the waves of that energy, there's still a desire to kind of be buffered up and be supported. And it's almost like, to me, your body is your body's style, let's say, is your way of holding yourself or nurture. It's like a holding. It's like patting yourself, holding yourself. It's like creating a buffer for yourself. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think the minute we kind of say, okay, the body's bad, it's not doing what we want it to do, and it's not going the way we want it to go, it has a tendency to try to protect itself all the more, which probably gains weight instead of reduces it. So let's start with this. All right, what job are you doing for me? How are you supporting me? How are you helping me in these moments, and really having some love and appreciation for the fact that that's the case? Because it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't look like it's, the body's not saying, I'm unhealthy, do something, help me. It's more like the body's trying to help you. It's the body's trying to buffer you a little bit. So let's appreciate it for that. And then if it wants to drop a little bit here or there, it'll do it, yeah, we just don't want to make it wrong for doing a good job for you. So yeah, I hope that helps.
All right, this next question is, this mom is 8 months pregnant and wanted to know if her baby has anything that he wants to say and anything that she can do to help the birth process be a little smoother or assist it in any way.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. So first, we're just gonna let this little one know that we're all totally grateful, for its coming presence at this time, and kind of like a pre-welcome to planet Earth. So so really, really focused. This one's really focused. So it's almost like, I know you said you were 8 months along, but this one's like, time to get here, time to get here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's ready to roll. Yeah. So maybe a couple weeks early, not late. I don't think it'll be late. It's just ready to roll. So let's see what else. Ooh, hold on a second. So the other thing about this one is, like, the word penetrating is what keeps coming to me. So it's almost like ready to be here, and almost from the get-go, really bores into, there's a deep multidimensional component to this kid, but definitely kind of bores into whatever needs to be, whatever can be and wants to be, needs to be lifted. It's like I can see, this is one of those kiddos that, man, I mean, you get eye contact with this kid, even from baby, and it's just can feel it like just melting something in the heart. It like it almost immediately melts that shield that most people have in their heart space. There's just a relaxation in the whole trunk that I feel when this one looks at me. So that one, yeah, I'm very focused, very direct, very, let's get here. I got something I got to do. Let's start seeing what we can see. And this one sees pretty darn clearly, right? So as far as the birth itself, what I'm hearing is whatever, I don't know where, it doesn't feel like, is this first baby, or is this, can you tell, your first baby? Is that what you're getting, Sharon? Okay. All right. So we all have some preconceived ideas. Yeah, okay. Some preconceived ideas around the way birth is supposed to go, And all I'm going to say here, Natalie, is just allow it to be supported instead of have a preconceived idea of the way it's supposed to go. So as you flow with what's happening and what the process actually is, that in and of itself is going to make that whole experience much easier. If there's rigidity around, this is the way it's supposed to be, and oh my gosh, we're going this direction when we meant to go that direction, all I see is this fluidity, just follow the fluidity and allow that to be exactly as it should be, right? You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing because that's what you'll be doing. That's where you'll be, right? So just allow that fluidity. And yeah, it's a beautiful setup. The baby's kind of saying yes, less rigidity, more fluidity. It's really what this one is kind of bringing into your life experience is fluidity. And yeah, so start in the birth, right? Start right there from the very beginning in the birth and just let it move you. And even when it's other people saying this direction, that direction, we need to go here, we need to go there, however it flows, you're flowing with it instead of against it. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. Yeah, thank you for that. I love checking in on babies. One of my favorite. Yeah.
All right, so this question is, I'm going to paraphrase it, but many spiritual leaders are telling us it's time to take action. This person is 72 years old and has no fire in her to launch a business, get going on anything. And because of that, she's feeling like she's going to miss out on her soul's purpose.
Mm.
And is there anything you can physically, mentally, emotionally, anything to help support all of us in that matter?
I really want to say this strongly because any blanket statements that are meant for every single person, every single soul on this planet, I don't think it fits. I mean, we're unique, sovereign beings. And we are all in a different trajectory in our life experience. And more importantly than what somebody else says or what somebody suggests is necessary, please, 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 let's check in with ourselves and let's notice what feels necessary. Because if reflection right now feels necessary, that's a contribution. If action out in the physical world feels necessary, that's a contribution. If there's anything that might be needed or required, is I think it would lean more towards the uniqueness of each one of our contributions. We are the multifaceted aspects of all that is. So if everybody's taking action, then what about all of those facets that hold some sense of something else, that hold some inner wisdom or hold some other capacity? So I would go inward. And what is your life experience telling you in these moments is your greatest contribution? And we have to understand too that as various aspects of all that is, when we shift individually as that aspect, that shifts all that is. So you don't have to go anywhere unless that is your calling to go somewhere. It's not, you don't have to do anything unless it's your calling to do something. And a matter of fact, I would venture to say that many of us empathic types, sensitive types, we probably are doing a whole lot of physical, mental, and emotional cleansing, processing, shifting, changing on any given day, just living the lives that we're living. And I will tell you that collectively, everything physically, mentally, and emotionally that no longer serves humanity is being processed. And so we can do those things in our own homes. We can We can, you know, I had somebody said the other day that they just wanted to stay in their house and stay under their blankets. I was like, great. It's like great place to be, like great place to support and nurture and hold and love yourself. And as an aspect of the totality, that has an impact. Let's be kind to ourselves, be loving to ourselves, being supportive to ourselves. I mean, I can't think of anything more that humanity could use right now than some of these simple things that we think are maybe not big enough or not purposeful enough or not what somebody says that we're supposed to be doing. Yeah, just love what you're doing, love where you are, and I think that's an amazing contribution. But that's just my point of view. So yeah, I hope that's helpful.
All right. This question is about children choosing their parents. And how does that play out in the parents' experiences and the children's experience? Just your take.
Oh, I laugh because there's so many times in my own life I go, really? I chose this? Are you serious? You know, and so I think first, it is my belief that we do choose our parents from the standpoint of we choose situations and conditions and maybe even lineage patterns that we feel that we might be able to be a contribution to, or that we feel that we might be able to learn from. So again, we don't make that decision from, you know, human Susie doesn't make that decision, you know, the essence of Susie or the spirit of us makes that choice. And so it's not even necessarily about, I don't believe it's necessarily about the person, the people, you know, that I chose George and Pat. You know, it's like, it's not so much about that as it is about the scenarios that lineage holds, and, you know, either what contribution can we be to that lineage, and what contribution can that lineage be to us, right? So the dance between the child and the parent is always a dance of, you know, what are we learning through the trials and tribulations of that experience, and what are we contributing to the trials and tribulations of that lineage, right? And so I think if we look at it from that vantage point, okay, you know, this is really challenging. You know, there might be some scenario that is extremely challenging, and we get to learn from that. We get to have that experience and move through that experience and learn, evolve through that experience. And there's other times that as we evolve through it, we contribute back to that pattern. We contribute positively back to that dynamic. So it's both, and, you know, the children are a gift to the parents, and the parents are a gift to the children. It's just, you know, sometimes we perceive it as I made a bad choice or I made a good choice. And I don't necessarily believe that. You know, it's like there may be some hard circumstances for sure. And there's a lot of kids that are born into pretty challenging situations. But nevertheless, there's a contribution that can be made at a much bigger level. Yep. And so I think that's what the choice that you're talking about. Yeah, I think that's how that plays out. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Parent's daughter is having a really rough time for the last 2 weeks, banging her head, obsessed with food, being rebellious, and she did show her mother communication about mad and sad. Please assist.
Okay, just last 2 weeks, rebellious, you're saying?
That's what the comment says.
Okay, All right, let's see here. What I hear this one saying is, if you're not going to listen, I'm going to push. If you're not going to, it's like there's something that's really trying to be said here. There's something that's really trying to be expressed, gotten across. And it's almost like there's a level, in this case anyway, there's like a level of frustration. Just keep hearing like, don't you see? Don't you see? I'm trying to help you see. I'm trying to get you to see. Can you see? And so let's see what this, and it can have a little bit to do with maybe your own frustration, you know, that frustration that you're might be internally experiencing and feeling. It's and there's almost like this energy of, you're allowed to express frustration. You're allowed to melt down. You don't have to hold it all together. That's a trained into experience, an imprinted experience. And so it's almost like this little one is saying, I'm trying to show you, can't you see? It's okay. You're allowed to be frustrated. You're allowed to be irritated. You're allowed to not have it all together. You're allowed to have a little temper tantrum every now and again. It's okay. You're not less than. You're not less than because you can't keep it together, or you don't feel like you can keep it together. And yeah, and it's almost like when that release happens for you, the parent, that release also happens for the child. This one's just kind of, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Just lose it. Go ahead, lose it. Lose it. It's almost like pushing, like, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I dare you, lose it, you know? And, but again, the minute that energy starts moving in you, and I can really feel this being a really deep release for you. It's like some energetic pattern, some imprint that's like staying just right under the surface, that might be coming up and be pushing down over and over again. It's like your little one's been watching this for a while and is now saying, okay, come on, let's get it all the way out. You know, let's flush it all the way out of the system. So it's okay. It's okay to have emotion. It's okay to, yeah, let it, it's compassion. Come pass on. Let that energy come pass through you. Come pass on through you. Compassion, right? Much more compassionate than trying to or hold it. I can feel it like right under the skin. Let it, yeah. Yeah. It'll shift. Watch. I feel like you're already shifting. It's like whatever you're hearing in this conversation feels like it's starting to bubble something up and give permission. So, yeah. Permission granted. Go have a hissy fit. Yes. So, yeah. But I'm not giving you permission. You're giving permission. Yeah. So, all right.
All right, this question is from a mom, and her son is sick at the moment, but he is also wanting to leave school at the end of this term. Any suggestions on how to support him?
You might not like my response, but let him leave school. You know, just you know, let him leave, and also have some conversations with him about why that feels important to him, what he's actually noticing about that experience, I think you're going to find that he's aware and wiser than you might be giving him full credit for. It's like, and there are definitely times that, when I check in, where some kids will say, no, push me to stay. It's like I'm testing you. I want to see if, or, push me a little further so I can hold on to this, whatever, this dream or this whatever experience when things get tough. He's not saying this. It's almost like the minute that permission, that honoring, I honor you. I trust that you are aware or are in knowing of what's right for you and what's not right for you. And I trust that. Let's have a conversation about that. How do you want to move with that? Where do you want to go with that? And be in support from that perspective. Yeah. The other thing that I think is always healthy to ask is, especially when our children want something different than we might ourselves want for them, let's just ask ourselves why we want that for them. Why is it that we want that for them? Usually it's something we want for ourselves, not necessarily something that we want for them. And so just kind of a little gentle turnaround of, why again do I want you to finish school? Or why again do I feel that this is necessary? Yeah. There we go. Okay, good. I'm glad that was helpful. Thanks.
All right, this question is from yesterday's twice a month energy session, specific to the energy work and opening the third eye to see the greater truth of who we are. Is there a purposeful blockage placed there for me not to see? Or are there tricks that I am not aware of to access the third eye vision?
I think what you're showing me anyway is that we all have a bit of a, I don't really want to call it a defense mechanism. That's kind of how I'm hearing it, but it's almost like we each have let's say a shutter on the third eye. And when the third eye is getting ready to see something that it might not know what to do with quite yet, it's almost like that shutter goes closed. And when that shutter goes closed, and you'll be able to, it because you're even addressing it here. It's like, is there something there that I can see that I am not seeing? Is there something available to me that's not available? Even asking that question is an indication that you're aware that shutter comes down over that third eye and then opens back over it. And so when you feel like it is closed and you are interested and or ready to see what might be available there, simply claim that as your choice. Simply, you've got more power than you have. So it's not like something's being done to you to keep that third eye closed, right? It's more like, oh, I'm sensing that there's something there that I could experience, but I'm not experiencing it. So the minute that you're in that space, then, if you truly feel ready for that, then whatever it is, show me that, and show me it with ease and grace. Bring it to me in a way that I can experience this, whatever is available for me to see now that I haven't been able to see before. Yeah, it's the movement of our lives are much more harmonious. They're working for us much more than we might know. We have a tendency to think, oh, I can't see something, so something's wrong, right? Let's just flip that just a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm not seeing something, or I feel like something's there that I could see. I want to be ready to see it. So let's start setting that as our attention point. Let's start requesting that. I'd like to see it, and I'd like to see it with ease and grace. Yeah. The other thing too is a lot of times there's a lot there. I will say this as somebody who does multidimensionally see, there is so much information out there, and you can talk to any energetically sensitive kid and they'll tell you the same thing. There's so much information out there that sometimes what we perceive as right there but we can't see it is something that would just end up being a distraction for who we actually are in our own life path. So sometimes most of the time, I would say it really is working with us. Yeah, it really is working for us. So that's all I can really say about this. When you feel that something's there, or something could be seen that's not available to you, one, is it in your highest and best interest to see it? Can you see it with ease and grace? Can it come about with ease and grace? Because none of us need any more trauma, believe me, right? We don't need anything that's gonna, we don't need any more trauma, right? So, is it in your highest and best interest? Can you see it with ease and grace? And and if that feels, like that's the next step, then unveil it. Show me, right? Show me. One of the things I will say that I said early, and I'm early in the game, and I'm so glad that I did, is don't show me anything I can't do something about. Because I don't know about you guys, but I just know myself well enough that, if I don't have any business being in that space, if my seeing it is not a contribution to it, then why see it? Yeah. So I would put that in the mix too, if you'd like. So, all right.
All right, so this question is around any advice that you can help release loneliness. This person is feeling lonely and is having a hard time embracing.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw something not too long ago when I was hibernating a lot myself, and that what if when you're all alone, when nobody else is around, it's because source wants you all to itself. So what if in that space of, there's a difference between loneliness and aloneness. And in many ways, I think the last couple years or so has really given all of us an opportunity to get in touch with what it is to be alone. And alone does not mean lonely, right? So there seems like there's a deep opportunity anytime loneliness comes to the surface, to be alone with the one, alone with all that is, alone with source. Yep, so that you can really begin to figure out what your relationship is to that source. Yeah, it's a, and I know nobody likes that feeling of lonely, but lonely very quickly can turn into a deep connection. I think part of the loneliness is that we're craving for something that meets a need. And yet the greater opportunity is to touch into that part of ourselves where all needs are met. Yeah. So move from lonely to I am alone with the one. I'm alone with those aspects of myself that need my attention. I'm alone with the silence. That's delicious. That's all we gotta say. Play there. Yeah, and you'll cry. I'm not saying that you won't feel it. You'll cry, and there'll be parts of you that have felt like they were so separated from something so deep within you for so long that there will be a mourning process. And a lot of times we call that mourning process loneliness. And maybe we could consider it more of a cry for what is true and what is deeper, the greater truth of who we are and what we are.
This question is do we stay with the same lineage throughout all lifetimes?
You want the sarcastic answer, or do you want the yeah, I hope not. No. It's like, let's see what shows up there. Well, only as it serves us, only as it serves and is a contribution to our remembering the fullness that we are, right? So, how many times do we run through various cycles with different, let's say, different pieces or people within our lineage, and we never get to love, compassion, appreciation, so, if it's serving us to stay within that lineage, then we probably do. We probably would. If it no longer serves, or it's, it's time to move on to some other trials and tribulations, some other, experiences that evoke something deeper within us, then my guess is that we would shift out of that lineage. But I would say that would be a pretty, the way you're showing it to me, that would happen almost as like a bigger cycle. Yeah, like as a bigger cycle, we're moving out of that whole lineage pattern and we're up leveling. It's because we've accessed the information and the capacity that we could through that experience. And then it's time for another one, right? So, because we're constantly, consistently, shifting, changing, evolving, becoming more, constantly. So yeah, that would be that's the way you're showing it to me anyway. The lineage shifts when the lineage no longer serves. Yeah, and it no longer serves when we've gotten as much of it as we can. when we've milked it for all it's worth, and we've developed in the ways that we can develop from it. And I think a really good indicator is, have we come into love, compassion, appreciation, acceptance for ourselves within that lineage, or for various aspects of that lineage in relationship to ourselves? Yeah.
All right. This question is, grandson arrived last year. He's 1 year today. And any messages or insights for him or from him?
I just want to tap into all the little ones, and I'll just sit here and laugh for the next, it's like, because immediately it's like when I checked in, I'm here. Look, see, I'm here. I made it. I got here. Yeah. So, and this is the other thing I've noticed this lately, and I think a few children's sanctuaries back, we did, a few months back now, we did a session called The Kind Ones or something like that. There was a lot of these kids that were being born out of these lockdowns and out of this time, that came through literally during this time period. And there's such a kindness in these kids, in these souls. I mean, it's almost like they're, man, it gives me chills. It's like they're here to regenerate our humanity, to reconstitute what it is to be human, to be kind, to be loving, to be compassionate. And so there's a real enthusiasm in this one. It's like, I'm here, I'm ready. I'm like, where can I spread kindness? Where can I offer my like my presence, he's ready. It's just ready to go. Okay, let's go. And I would put this one in that, in that collective of kind, gentle, loving. He's watching for it. He's like, where does it show up in his family? Where is that encouraged? And again, coming in a male body, and really he's looking for how kindness is used. It's one of his life experiences. I don't know, lessons. I don't know if that's the right word by any stretch, but it's like one of his life experiences to see how kindness is used and to add kindness and to see how that's received. And he's kind of watching that dance. And he's good at it. He's not going to understand when people aren't kind, and if he's going to push back, it's going to be when people aren't kind or people don't. I'll treat him with the respect that kindness deserves. He's, yeah. So yeah, I love that energy is very, very sweet. Kindness is going to be it. Yeah. Teach it to him from a really early age, or reflect it back to him, because he knows exactly what to do with it and how to take it into his life in pretty beautiful ways. So, yeah. All right.
Okay. This one is a person's getting into a creative project and it's just coming to them and it's connected to their own childhood, but she feels like it's more for a child. The project is around children and bridging or supporting to the children, and it's all about creation. Is there anything you can tell her to help her expand in this way?
Well, I mean, it's your child that is creating this for the children. It's your own inner child that's creating it. It's coming from your, like you said, it's coming from your own earlier experience. And it's almost like, let that, give permission to that child within you to fully bubble to the surface. It's kind of like, let's dance, let's go, let's have fun, let's play, it's like whatever this contribution is, whatever this offering is, it's like coming from your own inner children. And she wants to play like you wouldn't believe. She's tired of the I will say the mundane or the strategic or it's like she wants to express, she wants to play, she wants joy. And so the more permission that you're giving her, the more this energy is it just filters into your project. And the more the children that you support and serve are, just connected right to it. The kids are connecting to the child in you. And so, yeah, let that one come out full force. She's got the plan. She's got the plan, and every now and again she's going to add pieces to the plan, and you're going to, the adult in you is going to go, yeah, we can't do that, we're not going to add that, and that little one's going to go, yes we are, or we're not going any further. So listen to her. She's got the plan. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. I kind of want to come do whatever you're doing, because it looks like, I can feel the child in me going, yes, that would be really fun. I want to participate. I want to, see what that would be like. So anyway, thanks for whatever you're doing. That feels awesome. So let me just see where we are so we can close out things here today. And so let's do this here just as a close. So let the Divine Mother within you just show up for you. Let's just close our eyes for a second, and let's let the Divine Mother show up and meet whatever wants to be met or needs to be met. And let that energy, let her energy just permeate your experience here. Okay, gotta get in there. And then let's let the Divine Father come in. And let that Divine Father come in from your totality with whatever you personally require or desire from that Divine Father aspect of you. Yep, if you need strength, if you need courage, if you need direction, if you need action, whatever is required for you, by you, let that Divine Father energy permeate your field, permeate your awareness. And then last but definitely not least, let's let that Divine Child come in. There. Yeah, let that Divine Child come in, permeate, bring joy to, bring ease, bring grace, bring a remembrance, bring fluidity, bring curiosity. Bring permission and allowing. There you go, let that energy of that child permeate, Divine Child permeate. Here we go. Yeah. And being supported, nurtured, loved, never alone, never lonely, but alone with, one with these different aspects of self, the divinity, the love, the compassion, the one that can actually support. Here we go. That whole triad supporting you. Beautiful. All right. It's a nice deep breath, everybody. And go forth and have some fun. Okay. All right. Lots of love, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.